The first 24 hours if war breaks out. Explained. No one believes it will actually happen until it does. There is no official announcement, no dramatic speech at the exact moment it begins, just a sudden shift, invisible at first, and then everything starts moving at once. Satellites reposition, radar systems light up, encrypted messages begin flooding through secure military channels. Somewhere, in a quiet control room, someone makes a decision that cannot be undone. And in that moment, the world enters the first hour of war. Hour zero begins with confusion. Not panic, not yet. Most people are asleep, cities are quiet. But inside military command centers across the world, alarms are already going off. Early warning systems detect unusual activity. Aircraft scrambling, missile systems activating, naval fleets changing formation. Intelligence analysts rush to confirm what they're seeing. Is this a drill or is this real? Within minutes, the answer becomes clear. The first strikes are never random. They are calculated, precise, and designed to blind. Communication hubs, radar installations, air defense systems. The goal is simple: disable the enemy's ability to see and respond. Hypersonic missiles, or their closest equivalents, hit key targets before most civilians even realize something is wrong. Hour 1. Emergency protocols activate. Governments move to secure leadership. In multiple countries, top officials are relocated to undisclosed locations. Secure bunkers open. Military chains of command switch to wartime mode. Civilian communication networks begin to slow as traffic spikes. People wake up to notifications they don't understand yet. Messages about unusual activity, temporary outages, stay informed. On social media, rumors spread faster than facts. Some videos show flashes in the sky. Others claim explosions in distant regions. Most are unverified, but the tone shifts quickly. Hour 2. Airspace begins to close. Commercial flights are rerouted or grounded entirely. Airports descend into chaos as passengers demand answers that no one can give. News networks interrupt regular programming. The words "breaking news" appear everywhere, but even the experts don't have a complete picture yet. Financial markets react instantly. Futures drop sharply. Oil prices spike within minutes. Automated trading systems amplify the movement. Billions are lost before most people have even had breakfast. Hour 3. The first official confirmations arrive. Governments acknowledge ongoing military operations. They avoid the word war, at least for now, but the meaning is clear. Military alliances activate coordination protocols. Defense systems are placed on high alert. Naval fleets begin repositioning toward strategic choke points. Submarines, already hidden, receive new orders. Below the surface, the real game begins. Hour 4. Cyber attacks escalate. Power grids in targeted regions begin to fail. Not everywhere, just enough to create disruption. Banking systems experience outages. ATMs stop working in some cities. Payment networks lag or fail completely. For civilians, this is the moment it becomes real. People rush to stores, shelves begin to empty, fuel stations see long lines forming within hours. Some try to leave cities, others stay, unsure of what's safer. Information becomes the most valuable resource and the most dangerous. Hour 6. Military escalation continues, but not uniformly. Some regions remain untouched for now. Others become focal points of intense activity. Surveillance drones fill the skies over contested areas. Satellite imagery is analyzed in real time. Every movement is tracked, predicted, countered. Behind the scenes, diplomacy hasn't stopped. Emergency calls between world leaders begin. Back-channel negotiations open. The objective is unclear: contain the conflict or prepare for something bigger. Hour 8.
Global media coverage reaches saturation. Every channel, every platform focuses on one thing. Experts speculate, analysts debate, maps fill screens with arrows and flashing zones. But the reality on the ground is far more chaotic than any map can show. Hour 10. Civil defense systems activate in multiple countries. Emergency alerts are sent directly to phones. Instructions vary: stay indoors, avoid travel, conserve resources. In some areas, curfews are imposed almost immediately. Hospitals prepare for casualties they haven't received yet. Hour 12. Half a day into the conflict, the psychological impact begins to deepen. The initial shock fades, replaced by a growing realization this is not ending quickly. Supply chains begin to feel the pressure. Shipping routes are disrupted. Key trade corridors become high-risk zones. Insurance costs for transport skyrocket overnight. Every decision now has global consequences. Hour 15. Military strategies evolve in real time. Initial objectives shift based on outcomes. Unexpected resistance in some areas slows progress. In others, rapid advances create new risks. The fog of war thickens. Hour 18. Night falls again, but it is not the same night as before. Cities that were once brightly lit are now partially dark, some by design, others by damage. People stay awake longer. Phones remain in hand. Every notification matters. Every sound feels different. Hour 20. International pressure intensifies. Neutral countries call for de-escalation. Global organizations convene emergency sessions. Sanctions begin to form, not days later, but within hours. Economic warfare accelerates alongside military action. Hour 22. The scale of the situation becomes undeniable. What started as a limited operation is now clearly something larger. The risk of further escalation is no longer theoretical, it's immediate. Hour 24. A full day has passed, but instead of clarity, there is only a new baseline, a world that has already changed. Casualty numbers begin to emerge, though incomplete. Damage assessments are underway, but far from finished. Governments address their populations with carefully chosen words. Some promise control, others prepare for endurance, and everyone understands one thing: the first 24 hours were only the beginning. Because in modern conflict, the speed is overwhelming, the information is fragmented, and the consequences are global. There is no clear line between battlefield and civilian life, no safe distance from impact. War doesn't just happen somewhere else anymore. It happens everywhere, all at once. And by the time the world realizes it has begun, it's already too late.